Alright guys, it's Charlie Tango 1994 back with another YouTube video. This is a second in a series of videos. The previous video I did was about this tent. The fact it was 25 years old or something like that, and I was planning to use it to go to Buxton this year in July 2019. And it had a bit of mould because it was and is quite an old tent. So in the previous video I went through the mould on it, what I did to try and remedy the mould, and really just confirming that even though it's been stored away for a good number of years, everything I need for Buxton was in the tent bag. Ropes and pegs and all that sort of stuff, and it was all complete, and you know, you could live in it. So that all worked out well. So I thought while I still had the tent up, what I'd also do is sort of a partial kit review of what I'm planning to take up to Buxton this year. And I said in the previous video that I won't be able to drive up this year, so I'm going to be getting the train. And what that means is everything I'm going to take to Buxton with me has got to go into this 65 litre rucksack, which should be alright, I'm thinking. So there's just a partial selection really. This is just the sort of tent bits that I'd want to take with me. Doesn't include things like the radio kit I'd want to take, obviously clothes, or I need to take a certain amount of food. So somehow I've got to fit everything that I need to take for 3 days really, up to Buxton. Make sure I can get it into my rucksack, which I know I'm not going to be able to be fair. One of the items there, the actual camp bed itself, the green bag, I'm planning on carrying separate to the rucksack, and that would also include my mast that I use for the T2LT. So I think I can slot that in the bag at the same time. Just got to watch weight more than anything else, and just make sure that I can pack everything away. It's a fairly sizable rucksack, so I'm going to try today to there's actually some stuff in there, so I'm going to empty that stuff out and start putting stuff into the rucksack just to see what sort of capacity that gives me once I've got some of the basic stuff in. So in a minute I'll pull it all out and we'll kind of get the tent set up for the night, even though obviously I'm not going to be sleeping in it. But in this collection of stuff, and as I say, this is only a portion of what I'd want to take, on the far left in the grey bag is a camp chair. It's again fairly small, fairly lightweight, imagining that it will fit in the bag. As I just mentioned, the green bag is the camp bed. There's a small blue bag there with yellow stone on it. That is a collapsible table, which is really useful both for cooking and just generally, you know, you can set things on it, a cup of coffee or whatever else. Obviously the big blue bag is a sleeping bag. I'm going to take a lamp up there with me, not decided yet which one. This is fairly large, but it's quite bright. It does throw off enough light, I know, when I'm camping, if I want to read or anything like that. There's a small cook set, and I'll probably go into that a little bit more detail towards the end of the video. But there's a kettle in there. I need to have coffee making facilities, although it's not essential when I do get up to the bash. There is tea and coffee making facilities, and there's going to be a barbecue both the Friday night and the Saturday night, so I'm not going to go hungry, but I'm going to take some food up with me. Things like pot noodles as well, Cornish pasties, stuff I can eat without needing to heat anything up really, apart from boiling some water. But what I might also do is a chili con carne or something like that. So I do plan to take like a cooler bag with a small portion of meat, chili sauce as we said, maybe take some milk, bits and pieces like that. So I'll get those bits kind of on the day of travel, so they stay moderately fresh, and then hopefully there's enough, you know, food wise to feed myself over lunchtime, all that sort of stuff. Now obviously all going into that bag is this stuff, but that includes the tent as well, which even when it's packed up fairly small is going to be sizable. So there's going to be a fair amount of stuff in this bag, and that's really what I want to start testing out today, some weeks out before we go to Buxton. but want to make sure come the day that I'm heading off and jumping on the train that everything's packed away. I know where everything is, I've not forgotten anything, and it's not so bloody heavy that I can't carry it or anything. So we're all good. Let's start pulling some of the bits open and putting them together, and I'll explain more about what I'm taking with me. So one of the first things I'm going to need to do when I get up to Buxton and get on site, obviously after erecting the tent, is to put the bed up. It's an old style, army style canvas bed, I suppose you'd call it. You've got the metal rods that run through the side of the canvas, the big green material you can see on the floor, and then these sort of metal sprung bits of steel are the legs, so it gives it a bit of tension. It is actually moderately comfortable, I would say, for a camp bed, but all these bits of metal, it does weigh a fair bit, so I'll take it with me. It is, even when it's all broken down like this, it's still a fairly big size. So I did toy with the idea of just using an inflatable mattress on the floor, but I'm not a big fan of that. And once I've put the bed together and we have a closer look at what the camp setup will look like, I'll explain more why I would bother to take a more comfortable camp bed than just crashing on the floor, basically. So let's start putting it together. I'll explain a little bit about how that goes together, and we'll be ready to put the camp bed into the tent. So this is the first part of putting the bed together. As you can see, we're looking at the underside of it now. It's kind of like a canvas stretcher, really. And what I've done is connected the metal poles together, and that is what you put the legs of the bed into. But yeah, it's fairly straightforward to do. Very, very durable, and as I said, fairly comfortable. So let's get the legs into it. The other thing you'll notice is that I've put it together outside of the tent. Obviously there's not a massive amount of room in the tent to be trying to construct it, and I know ahead of time that it does fit. You can get it through the door once it's been assembled. So that was a worry a few years ago once, but I can slot it in there. So let's get the legs on it, get the camp bed into the tent itself, and we'll move on to the next thing. And that's it now with the legs in. Obviously still face down, but that's what gives it its tension and sort of general springiness. It is, as I say, I keep saying it, but it is quite comfortable for just a sheet of canvas and a couple of bits of metal. Really does a good job. So next job is to get it in the tent, and we'll start on the next thing. So that's the bed inside the tent, and as you see here, a few inches off the floor, not much, but that makes a real difference in terms of what they call heat conduction, but not laying on the ground sheet, even on a inflatable mattress. You know, you're gonna, it's not the most comfortable of sleeps, so I do prefer bringing the camp bed, even though it is fairly bulky and quite heavy. Two other things there which I'm not going to bother unpacking at this stage. There's a fairly standard 3-season sleeping bag and an inflatable mattress, which again just adds a degree of comfort and softness to an old man's bones when he's out camping. So those two items will be in the rucksack, along with everything else. So there's not much else really, just a table and a few odds and sods, and we're pretty much done. Cool, let's get on with that. So pretty much finished off now, got the bed in there, there's the inflatable mattress and the sleeping bag. I've also just put in the kind of side table, as I've got it at the moment, with the lamp on. That's all very cosy. Works very well, just in terms of kind of zipping up for the night and having everything to hand. I wear glasses as well, so I can take my glasses off and put them on the side table, all that sort of thing, without losing them on the tent floor. And there's one other item to go in, which is a little camp chair. Interestingly enough, although it's not very high, this tent, because of the size of the chair, I can actually put it up, and if I had to, if there was like a massive downpour or I needed to get out of the weather, I can quite happily sit inside the tent, on the chair, and just wait the weather out whenever that happens. So yeah, great tent for that. So let's just grab the chair, put that in situ as well, and we'll let you have a look at that. And that's the last bit. I've got the chair in there. So we're all set basically. The bed, nice comfortable bed, decent, I think it's a 3-season sleeping bag. Side table with a lantern, and I just tucked in the corner another item I forgot. Not sure if you can see that too clearly, but a little cook set I'm going to bring with me this time around. I've got a stove that I need to dig up. In fact, there's a bunch of stuff in the rucksack at the moment which I need to pull out, make room for some of this gear. And it's also swirling hot in here at the moment, so what I might do before I start packing everything away today is just let the coolness of the evening move in, and maybe I'll christen the new cook set. We'll have a cup of coffee out here in the garden, just for shits and giggles. And yeah, roll on Buxton, man. Really looking forward to it. As I said, there'll be a bunch of other gear that I'd want to take with me, including a radio bag. Not sure what I'm going to do about a handset just yet, or a radio itself. I mean, let me just stand up. I might take the handheld, which by the time you see this video you'll have seen in the DX that I did to, I think it was Banbury Hill, could well be wrong, but a recent one that I did in April this year. Nice little handheld. Connect that to the T2LT, and I've got an actual handheld microphone that connects to it as well, so it's very, very compact compared to a lot of my other radios. That, or I might bring out the old porta pack. All depends. I will naturally have to bring batteries, all that sort of stuff. So with food, with clothes, it's going to be quite a lot of stuff to go in that rucksack, but I think we can do it. So you'll probably see that in another video. Let me finish up a few bits here, wait until the evening cools off a little bit, and maybe before we end this video I'll have a final little chat over a cup of coffee that I boiled up with my new cook set in the garden. Alright, hope to see you in a few minutes. Cheers. Been scurrying around getting some other bits and pieces so we can have a brew out here. Got a bottle of water that I got out of the garage, my famous coffee cup, which is in desperate need of a wash, but we'll do it afterwards. The little kettle that comes with that new cook set that you might have seen in a previous video, but that's what we're going to use. I'm going to pull the chair up in a minute, get everything together, and we'll have ourselves a brew while we have a chat, and that'll be another video. Alright, see you in a sec, guys. So we're back then to finish the video off and finish the evening off really with a cup of coffee. And this is exactly what I'm going to use when I'm away at Buxton. Forgive me if some of this is difficult. Obviously I'm trying to do it one-handed, and it's actually proving to be much more difficult than I thought it was going to be. Let's see how we go. So, as you might have seen in a previous video, I'm going to be taking this BCB stove, which is giving me all kinds of problems at the moment. There we go, we got it. Okay, we're on. Slot that in. I think it goes like that. Nope, try it the other way around. Again. Do you know what? It's not going to make a huge amount of difference, but we'll just set that up like that, and we'll get it in frame. So the BCB stove we're going to use just to make a quick cup of coffee. Now, I can use one of these. I've got a few of them, but I'm not going to, because I've got some spare. Fire Dragon, this stuff is called. Again, apologies for having to do everything one-handed. There we go. We got done what we need to get done. So, one thing we didn't bring was a lighter, so I'll have to run in a minute. But we'll just fill that up with a good portion. And I'd say that's going to be enough. Let me just stop filming. I'll run in to grab a lighter, because otherwise we won't have any flame and therefore no hot water. I'll get back to you in a sec. So I've been in to get the lighter. The other thing we're going to need is the little kettle, which again you will have seen in my DX kit video a while back, couple of videos back. Just make sure that's all empty. Cool. Next job is to get some water. So it's better if I just put the camera down when I'm trying to do intricate stuff, otherwise this is going to be an endless video. So we've got water in the kettle, probably too much water to be fair, but not to worry. Let's see if we can get that lit one-handed. And we have, yeah, that's going. It's pretty flameless. I can actually see it, but you might just see the edge of it slightly. But there we go. So this is the first cup of coffee we're going to make using our new cook set and our BCB stove, and the kettle's already, I would say, boiling away, but we'll wait a while for the kettle to boil. I will get the coffee stuff ready, and I'm not going to film the entire kettle heating up because that's going to be silly, but shortly when the kettle has boiled I'll finish up making me coffee, and we'll get to the end of the video. Alright guys, so the kettle's been on for a couple of minutes, probably 4 or 5 minutes. It's starting to come to a boil now. Don't really need it to go to a rolling boil, to be honest, but I'll put the lid back on. We'll wait a couple more minutes. Got the coffee ready to go, so as soon as it boils, it goes into the old coffee cup, and we're set. So there we go, 1 cup of coffee boiled in my back garden, sitting in a tent, ready for Buxton. So there we go. Sorry, a bit of a long film in the end, but hope you guys stayed with it and enjoyed it, and I'll catch up with you in another YouTube video soon. Cheers guys, take care.